What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I want to share with you guys an accomplishment I just achieved in this game. And I think some people consider it some of the hardest content that you can actually do as a non-spending player in this game. And it's going to be the Grim Forest Conqueror. So I was just able to defeat Leshun with the 4 bosses on hard difficulty. It's the 3rd rotation of the brand new Grim Forest. I was going to attempt this last month, but then by habit, I accidentally killed one of the bosses. So I had to wait a whole month to attempt this again. And I spent the better part of the last 2 or 3 days basically looking for the proper rotation of champions so that I can actually achieve this. Now, I'm going to share with you guys exactly what I did, what I used, and give you guys some tips and alternatives on what you guys can do as well for yourself. After trying a couple of teams and different combinations, I realized that you can actually do this with a couple different strategies. So don't be discouraged if you don't have the exact champions that I'm going to show you guys. There's many ways you can actually do this. But the main way I'll go over in detail. Also keep in mind that, like I said, this is one of the hardest in terms of difficulty content in the game right now, outside of maybe hard faction wars, which is very roster dependent, of course. So you're going to need a pretty wide roster and you're going to need some pretty good gear for this. So let's jump right into it. All right, guys, so this is my Grim Forest layout. I'm only level 28, and the main reason is because I left the remaining bosses. I think I can't reach level 30 without actually killing basically most of the content. I left all 4 of the bosses, and there's one of these goblins behind one of the bosses, so I couldn't go after that. And then the purple area just opened because I just killed Leshun. And yeah, so that's about it. So level 28. I'll show you guys the Curios that I ended up using. So far, all through Grim Forest, I don't really care what Curios I actually end up using, but I'll show you guys exactly what I used because it was a little bit more deliberate this time. So I did use the Rune Cipher. This is pretty good, just kind of lays down random debuffs against the enemy. And usually these are pretty good ones, whether it's like survivability or increasing your own damage. It's not bad to have passive debuffs against the bosses. The other one here is the Shattered Spear, decrease enemies attack by 3, 5, and 10%. This helps you basically just sustain less damage. That's really nice. And then we have the Vial of Vitality. This is actually pretty nice because it just passively heals you from the heavens, heals your whole team or most of the team here with just a little bit of healing, which is really important against this boss. And then we have this noxious diffuser. This is really nice because it places a poison cloud on a random ally, and basically the poison cloud makes sure that the enemy only, basically can't crit them. So it adds further layer of protection. This spear, this knife, Nether Bite knife, is really, really important because it hits for this 5% of the max HP every couple of turns. And this is really important because this is one of your main sources of damage. And then lastly, we went for this Mummified Ward. It's not super important, but it does potentially clear some of your allies of some of the really, really bad debuffs that can come your way. Another one that could be good would be the Old Captain's Pipe, gives you the buffs instead of debuffs. And then this Amber Parasite can be okay as well. It decreases the enemy defense. I think in most cases this one would be okay, but with the strategy that we used for this clear, this one is not really, really necessary. So I'd rather take this for a chance just to relieve some debuffs from our team. So these are the Curios that we ended up using. These are the stat bonuses that we ended up using as well. So I'll show you guys that. Priority, we focus on resistance for most of Grim Forest. Resistance is very strong. It helps you get through a lot of the content very, very easily. On the flip side, if you need accuracy, obviously stacking some accuracy is going to be really, really nice. I probably went a little bit overkill here on the resistance, but this makes sure that basically any champion I have, even with basically no resistance from gear, should cover all content in hard Grim Forest. You could definitely go for a little bit more accuracy here. I think recommended accuracy against the bosses is about 500. So you definitely want to shoot for that if you're bringing somebody with debuffs. All right, guys. So like I said, this is one of the hardest pieces of content in the game available right now. And obviously it's going to depend a lot on your roster pool. I think at this stage in the game, the stats are easier to hit than getting the actual right champions into this fight. So before we talk about what champions I actually brought in, I want to talk to you guys about some of the mechanics that you guys need to be aware of when choosing a team to fight for this achievement. So the big thing about Leshun is that he entangles one of your champions, and he always entangles the fastest champion on your team. So this is something that you can control by building your team in a certain way, right? So you can't really, stop this in any way. The parasitic growth is actually very, very annoying as well, because this can actually potentially ruin your entire fight, because if an enemy under entangle is killed by this damage, so you take damage from this parasitic growth ability every turn, every Leshun turn. He will place another protected entangle debuff on the enemy with the next highest speed. So you might not be ready for this, but it can definitely mess things up. And I'll show you exactly what happened to me, because this messed me up at probably one of the worst moments. So I'll show you guys a fail there. The other thing that you should take a note of is this Siphon ability. So Siphon actually kind of takes stats away from the entangled champion, and then Leshun gets stronger that way. So if you have a cleanse to get rid of the Siphon, that's actually going to be beneficial. Then Leshun's just going to hit you for less or has less stats or whatever. But if you have ways to not take damage, that's going to be really, really helpful. Then you don't really care about Leshun with more stats. The other big thing here is this Isith, the Crimson Siren. So she's going to be the red succubus character on the far right. Now, she is the top priority kill for this, because she basically sustains the entire group. Without her, you can actually whittle down the entire group, and they can't really do too much about it. But with her, she full heals everybody whenever she uses this 4 continuous heal buff ability, her Siren's Kiss. So yeah, you can't really out damage through this. They have insane amounts of health, guys, insane amounts of health. Her passive here is also a little bit annoying, because it stops you from using enemy max HP. So if she's in the mix, yeah, somebody like Marius is not going to be any use here. And the other thing she brings is this. It's that the Crimson Siren allies deal pure damage. They hit you so hard. They hit you so hard when she is on the field. So she is definitely 100% a must kill first overall. So as soon as you kill her, everybody hits less hard, and they can't heal up anymore. So now everybody is on a clock. Torres, not too big of a deal here. You can actually freeze him if you have a freeze champion. So that could be useful. But he is immune to decreased speed. And yes, you can't use HP burn. So you can't use HP burn against him or the entire field. So that's one way of damage that you can't use. But other than that, he's not really much of a threat. This poison Maximos hits super hard. He hits really, really hard. And you can't use poisons, because him and his buddies are all immune to poison. So that's something else you need to know as well. He's also immune to speed debuffs here. And Drugnell, the Eternal Gatherer, he does have a provoke, which is a little bit annoying. So this is what I mean by using the Curios that can remove one of those debuffs. This guy, could save your bacon, right? You don't really want one of your key champions to be provoked, and then you need one of their abilities up. So he does have a provoke here, and him and his buddies are immune to ignore defense effects, guys. So yeah, there's a lot of damage mitigation or ways of, damage avenues that we're used to using against bosses that we can't use against this group. He's also immune to decreased speed as well, and Terminator reduction. And actually, the biggest problem with this guy is his reflect damage. So they don't even need to hit you hard, and you can just kill yourself, because it reflects 50% of the damage he receives back to the attacker if Drugnell is under HP burn. This will not happen, but because we can't really bring HP burn, because he has Torres, which makes everybody immune to HP burn. So this is always active. The reflect damage is going to be pretty nasty. So you need to be aware of that. All right, so I'm going to show you guys the team deck that I brought into this. So obviously there's, we can't bring HP burn. We can't bring max HP. We can't bring poisons. You can't bring ignore defense setup. There's only so many ways that you can actually deal damage to this group. But if the key focus and key strategy is to kill Isith first, like I said, you guys need to stop her from healing herself at the very least, and then focus her down. So you have to bring block buffs. That's probably the single most important thing you can actually do, is bringing somebody with block buffs. The other thing you can do is actually heal reduction. Heal reduction works pretty good as well. So you can stop her from healing up, but Leshun will cleanse his debuff. So you can't actually stop Leshun from healing up, because he'll just cleanse it off unless it's protected. If it's protected heal reduction, then you're good. I think Morgaine would be the champion with the protected hero reduction, but also Morgaine would be a random enemy, so it's just not reliable enough. So I would say something like Block Buffs would be the best because you can control it. So yeah, this is the set that I have to bring in, and then like I said, the hardest part is basically rolling until you get the right combination or a combination that kind of works. I tried a couple different combinations, and there's a lot of different ways you can actually make this work. One of the key champions here that I think is going to be really strong would be Lammasu. Lammasu AoE block buffs, which is really good. This means that the field will likely drop off a lot quicker. So you can kind of kill multiple of them at the same time, not just Iseth. So she's really good. She also brings decreased speed, which works against, I think, Leshun, and I think one more of them. I'm not 100% sure. One of them is not immune to decreased speed, so decreased speed could be pretty good there. Mashald could be okay. He does bring the buff steal as well as the heal reduction, but it's a single target, which is good and bad at the same time. Leech could be okay as well because it keeps your team kind of alive. You could even use somebody like Wukong. Wukong has the AoE block buffs, which can be useful as well. Lydia here has a single target block buff. Noelle has a single target block buff. Lemonisi is actually somebody that can do this fight very, very well. Heal reduction, AoE block buffs. Unfortunately, my Lemonisi was not fully booked. So I did use Lemonisi for some earlier teams, but because she wasn't fully booked and I didn't really want to fully book her outside of an event, I just stayed away from her, but she is actually really good. And she has the 5-star blessing, which uses Brimstone, which is going to be the key source of damage for this strategy, guys. It's got to be Brimstone. It just deals so much damage relative to what else you can bring because, they have such high health pools. But Brimstone's going to be really, really strong here. The other way you're going to deal damage against this group is basically War Master. You don't want champions to deal significant, damage because they get reflected, especially on AoE hits. Now, I'm not saying that this is kind of the only way that you can do it, but this is just one of the ways. And this is the way that we're going to focus on in this video. So we want to make sure that we bring our block buffs and we want to make sure that we bring our survivability. So we have lots of ways to survive. We got to bring revivers. Block damage works really good. Unkillable works really good. And yeah, like I said, I'll show you guys the team here that I ended up drafting. And this is the one that worked out for me. Going to be Sir Nicholas with Lady Noelle, the combo. These guys are really, really good because they effectively have two team-wide unkillable buffs because Noelle can activate Sir Nick, and Sir Nick has his own. And Lady Noelle has a revive, and she brings a single target block buff, A1, and she can freeze Torres with the revive. So she is the total package here. And for this fight, she's amazing. And then Sir Nicholas, he's basically here for the, he brings some healing, he brings some shields. He has the unkillable buff, which is obviously insane. His A1 can freeze Torres as well, which just kind of helps you, sustain less damage. We have Lydia here. Now, Lydia's inclusion is actually convenient, but she's good, right? I needed somebody with a Brimstone blessing, but basically I needed somebody with accuracy with a high star blessing, like a 5 or 6 star. And I just didn't have one. I actually was struggling to find that. And then I drafted Lydia and I was like, okay, I think this works. I think this draft works. And Lydia, because she's a 6 star, she's going to land the Brimstone, I believe 60% of the time. It's going to be protected. So it means the Leshun can't cleanse it off when it's on himself. That's really important as well. So a 5 or 6 star Brimstone is really, really important. And she had one free blessing reset left. So, in the pure spirit of conserving resources, I didn't want to spend any gems to change masteries. That's the big thing. I didn't want to change any masteries. I didn't want to significantly change blessings if I could help it. I decided to make it even harder with myself by being super stingy with the mastery reset and the blessing resets. Donatello here really good. He brings the cooldown reduction, which helps you get back your key skills. He gets the Terminator boost. He gets continuous heal. He can heal everybody. He has a passive that saves somebody as well, which is amazing. And then we have Niemi here. Niemi is incredible. She has big heals. She has the block damage. Decreased attack, decreased crit rate, not super crazy, but obviously it does help a little bit. But the way you basically manufacture a team to work here is you have a bunch of supports that can keep everybody alive, that don't do much damage, and you bring somebody with the protected Brimstone with, ideally some other champions with War Master. So I'm bring up the gameplay footage here, and I'll show you guys some key tips with the gameplay, because it's all manual, guys. It's all manual. And yeah, some stuff can definitely fudge up here, and I'll show you guys exactly what happens. So Sir Nicholas and Noel, they have a 2-turn unkillable, which is amazing, right? So you want to basically spread out these abilities as much as you can so that you can have, your team fully protected all the time. Now, like I said, Leshun will target the fastest champion on your team, but you have to be careful here, because if you have a team that has increased speed, if the increased speed falls off the champion, falls off one of your champions, it's going to mess up the speed order of your team, right? So I had this happen at a really, really bad moment, and I'll show you guys exactly what happened. But just basic gameplay here. Like I said, we want to target down Isith, the red succubus on the far right, and then we want to space out our survivability mechanics here as much as we can. So here, we're saving up our unkillable to use, and space them out. So you kind of see Isith there, kind of bringing all the continuous heals, healing up everybody. At this point, you're not really concerned with anybody else except for targeting Isith, because the fight totally changes after she dies. After she dies, you can deal with the rest, right? Because they're going to deal less damage. They're not going to be able to heal up. And you notice there that we revived Donatello as soon as he died, because we want to basically protect our key champions from getting entangled, because if they get entangled, that's it, they're done, right? So this is a bit of a dicey strategy if you build a team with, for example, one reviver or one key champion. That is something that is, you want to avoid that key champion to get entangled. So in this case, I actually built Noelle as the slowest champion, so she has the least likelihood of getting targeted by entangle. Now, like I said, Leshun does have a way to kill the entangled champion and then move the protected entangle immediately to somebody else. That's going to mess things up because you might not be ready for it, right? So that's probably going to happen later on when the rest of the goons, rest of the bosses don't deal as much damage. In the beginning, they deal so much damage, they're going to kill your guy like basically right away. So you don't have to worry too much about it. So that's kind of what I realized. After Isith is dead, everybody's going to deal much less damage. And then Leshun's ability to basically just every turn do a little bit of damage is going to happen and kill off more of your champions more frequently. But basically for this strategy, what I used was basically I'm going to revive every single time I have it. Every single time I have the revive ready, I'm going to use it to bring up whatever guy we need to bring. Obviously, it's not going to work all the time, but you have to, have it ready to revive basically as soon as possible. So we just lost Lydia. She's the source of, brimstone. She also brings the block buff. Luckily, Noelle has a block buff herself, so we can, help in that way. So ideally, in this team, you bring multiple sources of protection, multiple sources of block buffs, because you can't have Isith heal, because that's going to bring, set you back huge amounts of progress. And then have ways of healing. And ideally, you have 2 brimstone champions just in case one goes down, but it's not super necessary. Like I said, I did it with one, and it's just Lydia here. All right, so right here, I'll show you guys exactly what happens and what I was talking about with the speed order. So everybody's got increased speed up. They actually entangled Lydia here. Lydia's not the fastest, but Donatello was dead and all that. Okay, you're gonna watch her go down. Look, this fight, we got it in the bag, right? We got this fight in the bag, guys. Got it in the bag. So, increase speed, still on everybody. Then we go through one more cycle here. Increase speed, still on Donnie, still on Sir Nick. It drops off Sir Nick, drops off Donnie, and now Noelle gets entangled. Did you guys see that? The reason why was because she has the increased speed on, and Lydia died at the perfect time, right? So we suffered some really bad RNG there because Lydia died at the perfect time, and then the entangled basically moves, right, from the parasitic whatever passive and moves to the fastest champion, and Lady Noelle, having the only increased speed on the team, she gets entangled. So yeah, really bad RNG there. It took 30 minutes, and basically, we had it home run, but now we lost a reviver, and that's going to be GG for this fight. But just something so you guys know that there is some RNG that's going to really mess you up, and it's going to be really frustrating. But you know what? It's 30 minutes gone. We know we have to restart here, even though we're so close, right? But yeah, I'll show you guys the successful run right here. Like I said, this is the successful run, and we got him exactly where we wanted him. After Iseth is dead, we basically just grind him down. It's been 36 minutes for this fight. You guys got to be careful about the reflect damage, right? So reflect damage is going to reflect quite a bit of damage to you when you hit your War Masters as well. So you need lots of ways to protect yourself from sustaining too much damage. So in this case, block damage is really good. The unkillable keeps you alive, but then when the unkillable falls off, you're going to have very low health, so you can still die. So either you bring a lot of healing or you bring block damage. In this case, we have basically everything we could ask for. But yeah, it still took us 37 minutes. It's a lot of patience. It takes a lot of patience to do this. And then we actually, get the job done this time. And there we go. We completed the hardest piece of content in the game that you can do pretty much. I would say this is less hard than Faction Wars, because Faction Wars basically just, it's kind of the same, where you need a huge roster and then you need RNG. And not only that, Faction Wars is way more fights and way more RNG, whereas this is just one fight, one bit of RNG that you have to deal with, but you still need the correct roster, the correct team, correct deck RNG, I guess. There we go. We got the job done. Oh my god, I'm scared that the game would break, but there we go. Boom, boom, boom. 38 minutes here. I'll show you guys the gear sets here that we used, and of course we'll show you everything else, the masteries and all that stuff. So let's see, recently used. So literally I just used this group. So we got Lydia here. She is in Regen and Immortal. Basically any type of healing is going to be helpful. Yeah, this is not super important. They don't really strip your buffs, which is amazing. Imagine if they stripped your buffs. This would be an impossible fight, but obviously they're going to give us some kind of mechanic for us to lean on. She's the one with the brimstone here. And yeah, I had one free one. Now I have to pay 300 gems, but it is what it is. So I wanted to do it pretty stingy here. And she has War Master on. Oh, I think I mistook Sir Nick as the only War Master. Lydia does have War Master on herself, because she was killing herself on some of those hits, because the War Master proc is just so much damage. But Lydia does have War Master, so excuse me, my error there. Lydia and Sir Nick had the only War Masters on the team. We do have Neve here, sorry, and she is 318 speed. I'll show you guys the stats actually. Lydia's got 570 accuracy. It's plenty. Like I said, aim for 500 accuracy. Aim for 300 speed on everybody. That's going to be really important. She's 327. She's not the fastest champion on this team. Masteries, yeah, Brimstone you definitely want. And then War Master you definitely want, as long as you have enough healing. Neve here, she's in Regen as well. A little bit of healing is definitely going to be important for her. 318 speed, 100k HP. She doesn't need accuracy or anything like that. She was doing a little bit of damage there near the end when the bosses start losing a lot of their health. So that's really important. We did put Aspect of Suroth on her just to keep her alive, give her a chance to stay alive. I don't know if it was really good. I might just leave this on her full time. I think it's okay. Life Harvest is just Arena Blessing I didn't change, and then her Masteries I didn't change. So from Arena Masteries, I just didn't want to invest additional resources changing stuff if I didn't have to. We have Donatello here. I did change up his build a little bit so that he was the fastest champion. Donatello is 346. In terms of which champion you want them to target as the fastest champion, you basically want a champion that you can live without. And I can't live with, on this team, I couldn't live without the Brimstone guy. I couldn't live without the, obviously the Reviver, and I couldn't live without Sir Nick. It was between Neve or Donatello, and I thought Neve was actually more important because she brought an extra layer of protection, whereas Donatello's kind of support that makes everybody better. So I thought Donatello was going to be the champion that we didn't need as much. Now he is in a Relentless set. Now the Relentless set gives him an opportunity to get extra turns so that he can cycle through his abilities as soon as he comes back from his entangled or getting revived. revive from being entangled. So it gives him a chance to get more turns in and then benefit the group because he's going to get entangled pretty much right away. So yeah, that's kind of like the idea with the Relentless. The Supersonic set, I mean, it does give a little bit of a bonus because fill this champion turn meter by 2% for each buff on each enemy, like because Iseth brings all those continuous heals. I thought this could be helpful and give him a little bit of turn meter. So that's just kind of like my idea there. He does have resistance, but that's based on the arena build that I have on him. Volcardiac Heart, just arena. Everything else is just arena, so no real changes there. Just have to speed tune him a little bit so that he goes first. And then after that, we have Sir Nick. Sir Nick is basically in whatever gear. Like you can kind of see here, he is basically in whatever gear. He again is speed tuned ahead of Noel, of course, 325. He's not built for damage or anything like that. His only damage is going to come from War Master. He has Lightning Cage, that's from Arena. He has no equipped relics. And then he's basically in whatever gear. So, and then lastly, the star of the show is going to be Lady Noel here. She does bring the, basically everything, like I said, total package, right? 315 speed. She's the slowest in the group. That's really important. She's the slowest in the group. So for Lady Noel, you don't actually need the accuracy here. You got 315 speed, so she's the slowest in the group. Because Sir Nick is on the group, she can land block buffs and freeze without accuracy, which is amazing. So she can freeze Torres. She can put block buffs on Iseth. And then the 3-turn cooldowns of both these abilities, amazing. 3-turn AoE, revive with the freeze, just amazing. So, and it's really helpful because sometimes you need this 3-turn cooldown ability back a lot quicker. If it was a 4-turn ability, I probably would have lost a lot of those fights as well. We did go with the bolster set, and then we did go with the impulse set, so 12% chance to reduce a skill cooldown by 1, just so we can get back some of these key abilities here as much as possible. I mean, we definitely could have done that with Sir Nick too, but it is what it is. I wasn't 100% all in on this. We didn't have the full masteries and all that stuff done. I think the key one here is Cycle of Magic. That's the one that we ended up going for. Just to give her a chance to get back some of her key abilities. But yeah, there we go. That's the team. A bunch of supports, a bunch of healing, a bunch of protection against stuff. Let Brimstone do the damage. Let War Master do the damage. Target Iseth first, which is going to be really, really key. Some key alternatives here that actually work really well that I tried, but didn't have the perfect teams, like I said, would be Lammasu. Lammasu is actually very amazing. She brings the AoE block buffs and then the decreased speed, which can work against some of the bosses. AoE decreased attack, also good. And then this reset ability is also really, really strong for this fight. Another champion that's actually surprisingly good is this champion, Mighty Uko. Mighty Uko is really good because he brings a revive with the block damage. Now, if you guys are playing Lady Noel with Sir Nicholas, like even a team with just those two is not enough. Because sometimes you revive and then the enemy gets an attack right away and then you lose the guys right away. So having a revive with a protection ability is very strong, very strong. So Mighty Uko works really well. He also brings block buffs, which is very good as well. And then decrease attack here too is also very good. You can also steal some stuff from the enemy, like the continuous heals. So that's going to be very useful. So I tried to get a deck with Mighty Uko, but I couldn't really get him. But yeah, he did work out in one team that I was using, but he wasn't in the right team, or the team just failed. So I had to reshuffle the deck there. Another champion that I found decent success with was actually Lemonici. Lemonici, not this build, of course, but Lemonici worked out pretty well. She was not fully booked. That's one of the big problems here, and I didn't want to fully book her outside of events, so I didn't want to try her again, but she actually can be very strong in this fight. She brings AoE heal reduction and AoE block buffs, which is perfect to deal with Iseth. You also probably should have a 5-star on her, so she's going to be pretty MVP for that. So you can get the protected brimstone and all that stuff. And yeah, I did mention Mashal is actually pretty decent as well. He does bring a leech, which is really good. Keeps your team alive. Single target heal reduction. You can target the Iseth and then target her down. You don't want him to deal any damage otherwise, but the buffs he brings, the debuffs are decent. But yeah, like I said, bring heal reduction, bring block buffs. So somebody like Vargal could be okay. Tormund might be okay, but his heal reduction block buff is on a 4-turn cooldown, so it's a little bit harder to get that to work. But yeah, you guys just gotta work with whatever you got. I think Lemonisi is gonna be like the people's champion. Everyone's got her, because she was free. She got a 5-star brimstone, which can be very helpful. I think she's gonna be very good. I did mention somebody like Wukong. You can re-gear him to be a support champion to do the AoE 3-turn block buffs, which can be very useful as well. But anyways, there's some options to deal with this, but like I said, multiple revivers, multiple ways to protect yourself, just because the entangled RNG can be really nasty sometimes. And then you want to target down Isith, and that's going to be the key part about dealing with this fight. After she's gone, you can actually, tank through everything and then just kill the boss slowly, maintaining, the entangled speed arrangements that you have. For me, I had my key champion as the slowest champion, and then I did suffer that one RNG that one time. Anyways, guys, hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. There's not too much content out there for this. It's actually quite difficult, and a lot of the teams are, pretty stacked, right? You have mythical champions that can deal multiple roles. That if you have those, that's going to be really, really helpful. But if you're trying to deal with it with, basic roster, obviously even my roster is very advanced. But this is, like I said, one of the hardest pieces of content in the game. So there we go. We did it. We got it done. Not too crazy. Like I said, it took about the weekend trial and error and getting the right, deck combinations and stuff. But yeah, pretty fun. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Thanks for watching until the end. Let me know if this video was helpful for you guys. If you guys enjoy the content, please make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. It would really, really help me out. If you guys know anybody that's struggling with this content, send them the video. That would be a big help for me as well. Much love, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end. Appreciate you all. Take care. Have a great one. And I'll see you guys in the next one.